Namaskar, this is Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. In this episode, I'll talk about India's failed Bangladesh policy and the idle assets, infrastructure assets it had created, blocking huge amount of money. India's newly appointed High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, must have understood or got a taste of the land as soon as he arrived. Having assumed office on June 12, Mr. Trivedi, who is a politician, the first politician to be picked up for the job, had expressed his commitment to work for the common good. In typical Bengali poetic sense, he referred the common culture, heritage, geography, etc., to express his commitment. Now, that's a very simple statement, which Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the ruling party in Dhaka, has immediately picked up and converted it into a sovereignty debate. The Information Minister, Mr. Jahiruddin Sapan, he claimed that Bangladeshis are anthropologically distinct and they must not learn about the past, present, or whatever from India. Instead of India, he used the word Kolkata. Now, that's a very silly effort to dodge the issue. So that said, it clearly explains what is the problem with Bangladesh. The BNP government of Tarique Rahman came to power with overt Indian support, even from the campaign stage, in February 2026. After Mr. Tarique Rahman assumed power, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended a red carpet welcome to him. He invited him to India along with family and etc. So that's about good gestures from Delhi. Now, it did not work. Barely 4 months, and BNP has gone back to where they always belonged, a rabid anti-India, pro-Pakistan party. Analysts both in India and Bangladesh are unanimous that the Tarique Rahman government has been acting as an extension of the Yunus, Dr. Muhammad Yunus's Islamist-backed interim government that was there after the exit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Among the differences, Yunus came to power with overt support from the US, which has been against Hasina for opposing the American plan to put up a base in Bangladesh, military base. The US is also backing Jamaat-e-Islami-led Islamists in Bangladesh. Bangladeshi Jamaat is a part of the Islamic Brotherhood through its parent Pakistani Jamaat, and Brotherhood has been responsible for the first Arab Spring in Tunisia more than a decade ago. This whole construct is now bolstering the Islamists in Bangladesh. And typical to the trade, they are unleashing violence on or persecution on Hindus. Persecution is actually a soft word. What they do is crude violence and denial to political right. Bangladesh has over 1 crore of Hindus and some Buddhists, a few lakhs of them, Buddhists, and they don't really have any political right in Bangladesh. The Yunus government had jailed Chinmoy Prabhu, a Hindu monk who demanded the political right for the minority. Tarique Rahman, which has been in power for 4 months, kept him in jail. So it has been more than 1.5 years. And very lately, I'm getting reports from Bangladesh about fresh atrocities against Hindus. And it is coming in waves. Temples are being destroyed, Hindus are being chased out to India, and all that. I have already done a podcast in Bengali, and I would love to do more in the days to come. To go back to India's Bangladesh policy, the development over the last 2 years have clearly pointed the mistake in our assumption that a development politics where economy takes precedence is a no-go zone insofar as Bangladesh is concerned. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because the Islamist ideology is superior. I mean, it is not, I won't say it's antagonistic to economics, but it barely cares for economics. It also proves the indispensability, therefore, of Awami League of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh politics. It is banned by the Islamists who are running the show in the name of some Yunus or Tarique Rahman for last 2 years, and they have banned Awami League, which even military rulers didn't do. And so I think Delhi has to work steadfastly to revert this ban and ensure that Awami League is reintroduced in Bangladesh politics. That will bring some balance in the system. Otherwise, it is going to be a very difficult task for us. Overall, this country, in my assumption, may see temporary growths, but economics and growth is not its priority. So we have to be, the harsh truth is that the development politics will not work here. The carrot that generally we believe in is that, the prosperity and etc. Bangladesh prospered hugely due to Indian cooperation that can be proven by data and etc. But it doesn't work to them. So that said, let's define Bangladesh no more. For so many years, over 50 years, it is defined as a friendly country. Well, at the most, you can call Bangladesh a friendly enemy or a friend. And that's a huge realization I hope that the Indian policymakers should have had. That takes us to the topic of the ruins that was created by this policy, which we pursued for more than a decade, 1.5 decades, when Hasina government was in power. Hasina government was pro-development, pro-cooperation. So that we thought that this is going to give us that opportunity to create a sustainable bridge through economics. And India on its own committed $10 to $12 billion of investment in Bangladesh or Bangladesh related projects in trade and connectivity. It also facilitated the exposure or commitment of $16 to $17 billion of funds through the Asian Development Bank. Anyone who has been associated or have watched these things over the last 2 decades will know that Indian insistence was the prime reason behind ADB's huge exposure in Bangladesh over the last decade. Post-Hasina Bangladesh did not care for it. And most of the projects, Indian projects as well as ADB projects, which are for interlinking the two nations, most of them are either abandoned or suspended or idling. Many connectivity links which were once operational now stands closed. The passenger rail service that was operating for more than 2 decades or 2 decades has been suspended for last 2 years. Air connectivity has also reduced, with India reducing its visas, and justifiably so. Indian policy to give so many visas was wrong. And So that means that it is questionable whether India or we should invest any more in the lavish passenger facilities that we created. Delhi is yet to give the official account of the money stuck in Bangladesh or Bangladesh related projects. As I said, overall, some Indian finance of $10 to $12 billion, ADB finance of $16 to $17 billion were promised. Some of the economic vestiges or block funds that I can see are, for example, the Rampal thermal power station in Bangladesh, which has now been their single largest source of electricity, domestic source of electricity. India's Exim Bank offered it nearly $1.5 billion of world's cheapest loan that was decided through an auction or bidding. And India government has given a sovereign guarantee to, or to put it this way, that Exim Bank granted this loan to a high-risk country on sovereign guarantee from Government of India, which means the Government of India has taken full responsibility of the loan. That's huge. The biggest, something, if, as I said, that there is no official account, we have bits and pieces from here and there. But if you want to see a living museum of these ruins, please visit Tripura, India's far northeastern state. There are at least two projects where India has struck 1,500 crores or roughly $160 million. Both completed more than 2 years ago or 2 years ago, and both are idling now. One of them on Bangladesh side has Bangladesh blocked some ADB finance in one of these projects, but they probably do not care about it. The 12-kilometer long Akhaura-Agartala rail link. Agartala is the capital city of Tripura, Indian state of Tripura, and Akhaura is in Bangladesh. So this rail link was completed at a cost of 1,200 crore. It has a 7-kilometer long component on the Bangladesh side. The total project, the Bangladesh side was, it is completely India funded. And what is important is the Bangladesh side was completed at Indian grant. It is not loan. So Dhaka barely cares for it. Now, ideally, this project and further in downstream investment should have given Dhaka, Bangladesh, access to northeastern markets, better access, because it would have connected Bangladesh to the Indian rail system, and rail transport is far cheaper. So goods could have, Bangladeshi exports could have traveled across the northeast. That was the Indian plan and Bangladeshi plan at that moment. But the Indian planners deserve a bit of spanking for approving it, because the Akhaura-Agartala rail link is naturally broad gauge, because Indian system is broad gauge, but it is landing up at Akhaura connecting with a meter gauge system. So without converting that meter gauge into a dual gauge or a broad gauge, why the Indian planners did invest in this project, which was bound to remain stranded at slightest provocation, and it is stranded now. The lonely rail lines, the immigration and facility, the state-of-the-art facilities at Nishintapur in Tripura, the 3-kilometer long viaduct, all these are remaining as the last remains of a lost dream. But the worst of these instances is visible at South Tripura, at a place called Sabroom, right across the Bangladeshi border. The two countries there are divided by a small river called Feni, and India built a 300 crore or 350 crore facility, including a bridge on the river, a road bridge. It's a state-of-the-art facility. If you could visit it, I have seen it from the scratches. Even before it was built, I knew the place. I have visited the place. So it is it is far better than many or most airports in India. If you look at the passenger terminal, the cargo handling facility is top notch. The Bangladeshi side was built on ADB loan, and the ADB finance utilized ADB finance in acquiring land for a 4-kilometer long, 40-kilometer long 4-lane highway that would connect, ultimately, it would connect the Chattogram port from. So the ICP, this is how logistics is planned, that goods are coming. See, I forgot to tell that the Sabroom ICP on Indian side is rail connected. So we brought the railhead over there just for this project, right? So it would have ensured cheap movement of goods, whether it is from Bangladesh side, whether it is from Indian side. And this Indian facility is idling for last 2 years. It was fully completed 2 years ago. The Bangladeshi side, the terminal facility was completed in September 2025. It is standing as a ghost station. We don't know what, just for the terminal, the Bangladeshi terminal, probably they invested something around $20 billion. The road project is extra, so ADB loan is struck. I am not aware what Bangladesh will do. They will probably not do anything unless and until someone applies the stick. The only silver lining from this whole experience is there are two takeaways. One is India understood the futility of this development politics in a very hard way. And it is now securing the security part vis-a-vis Bangladesh at a steadfast manner. Indian borders are getting strengthened like never before. And you will see a lot of changes on that front sooner than later. The second takeaway is, and that's a real silver lining, for the Sabroom land port project, Japan committed, that was also more than 2 years ago, committed investment in a deep sea port at Matarbari in Bangladesh. And the deep sea port requires very huge cargo, very huge radius to operate. So it's barely 60, 70 kilometers, 80 kilometers from Indian border, Tripura border. So they insisted in their DPR, in their planning, that the access to Indian market, the Indian cargo, is crucial for the viability of the port, because Bangladesh alone cannot generate as much cargo. And right at this moment, the state at which Bangladesh economy is, it will not generate adequate cargo. There won't be much investment. There won't be much growth for years now, at least for 5 years. I can see immediately. 2 years have gone by. Another 5 years, you can easily see that it is going to stagnate. The economy is in very, very bad shape. But then who cares whether the Islamists will care, whether this Tarique Rahman and Yunus, all of which are basically backed and propped up, they have different agendas. Whether they will care is to be seen. How Japan pushes it is to be seen. So that's some are the uncertainties. But as I said, these are the only two takeaways. Thank you very much for watching Podcast with Pratim.